Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition it's Maniac Mansion, brought to us by Jaleco and Lucasfilm Games, now known as LucasArts. Now Maniac Mansion is a point-and-click adventure game, a genre that really wasn't that seen on the NES, however it was much more suitable and popular on the PC consoles. This game is easily one of the most popular and best examples of the point-and-click genre. You have an interesting storyline with very memorable characters and some of the most interesting and funny scenes in all video games. There's tons of items to interact within the mansion, as well as different endings to get, including sometimes combining different endings into another ending. So here we go with Maniac Mansion for the NES. Now in this game you play as 3 different characters. One you must choose, which is Dave, our main character, whose girlfriend has been kidnapped and taken into the mansion. You can then choose 2 of the other 6 characters to take along with you inside the mansion. Each of the characters has their own unique music, as well as unique abilities that allow you to interact and do certain things in the mansion that other characters cannot. Now in the run of this game, I'm going to be choosing 2 of my favorite characters, Razor, the lead singer of a punk rock band, and Bernard, a classic all-around nerd. Now the storyline goes, you have the Edison family who live in this weird abandoned mansion. You have Dr. Fred, you have Nurse Edna and their son Weird Ed. There's also a dead cousin who's mummified living still in the house, and a few pet tentacles, who are definitely some of the more memorable characters in the game. However, the main character of this game, and the one who's been causing all the problems, is a purple slimy meteor that crashed into the house and is now taking over the minds of the family. So here we actually see our characters inside our game. We're getting a little bit of an intro talking about the fact that Sandy, Dave's girlfriend, has been kidnapped. And then each of the characters that you choose along for your adventure have different kinds of dialogue that go along with this intro scene. Playing this game multiple times is what makes it so enjoyable. Not just trying to get different endings, but using certain characters just to find out what they're going to say and what they can and cannot do. Now in this run, I'm going to be working towards Bernard's specific ending. And I'm going to do that in probably the quickest way I know how to do so. And while there is a lot of stuff you can do differently in each run of the game with different characters, there's a core amount of certain things that you must do in order to advance. And I am going to do a few things that you're really not supposed to do, including one glitch that's really just done to kind of speed things along. Once Dave has convinced everyone to get ready to go into the mansion, we will finally get ready to start moving along into our adventure. Now you can really see the point-and-click interface with the mouse button moving along, as well as all your different options to interact with items at the bottom. Now you can quick draw those selections by pressing the select button, so that helps speeding along certain selections. Now first off, we went ahead and we moved the mat out of the way to find a key and use that to open the door. We're going to go ahead and enter this door into the kitchen, and now here's where the first real challenging thing is. However, I suggest doing it. It helps speed along some time here. Nurse Ed is in the kitchen and is guarding the refrigerator. However, once she sees you, she'll start chasing you. If you can run quickly out of the kitchen, you can easily then go back in and she's no longer there. If she catches your character, she puts you in the dungeon, which we'll be seeing later on in the game, because you must go through it in order to get to the end. However, you either need to find your way out of it, or have a special key that we'll be getting later on as well. Now, I recommend when you're first playing the game, you want to pick up probably almost all the items. I'll be picking up some random items, but I'm really going to be focusing on just certain ones. I picked up some items from the refrigerator that I probably won't be using, but I picked them up anyway. What we really need is this fruit drink that's on here, and then we can leave the area with Dave. Now you can use any of the characters to do a lot of these certain things. There's only certain items each of the characters can't do. In fact, Dave is probably one of the more useless characters. He really can't go ahead and do a whole lot of the other stuff that certain characters can do. Now that we have our fruit drink, we're going to go ahead and leave the kitchen altogether, go past the stairs, and we're going to go ahead into the living room all the way on the right side. Go ahead and open up the door. You can see this is a living room. We'll be coming back in here later on. We will be needing a part for Bernard's ending in here, as well as getting that special key that I mentioned to get out and into the dungeon. Now throughout the game, you'll see these random scenes that are meant to happen. They're time-based events for random cutscenes that tell you to do certain things or advance the storyline. For right there, you can see the kid, Weird Ed. He wants to go get a snack for himself, so he's going to go head to the kitchen. If you were in the kitchen or out in the main hallway and he appears, he's going to chase you down and, just like Nurse Ed, put you in the dungeon. Now in this room, you can open up the last panel that's loose and get a cassette tape. We're going to be needing that to record some rather interesting sounds on it later on. Now that we have that cassette tape, I'm going to go ahead and move Dave over, and waiting for this particular scene to happen, as we can see Weird Ed going to investigate the fridge and grabbing a piece of cheese for himself and his hamster. Now if you go ahead and take the cheese from the fridge, you get a little scene where you see him going, "Hey, there's no cheese," and then leaving. So every little thing you do in the game can sometimes affect these scenes. Now with the fruit drink and the cassette tape, we're going to go ahead and head upstairs. Once we get upstairs, we're going to go ahead and go inside the left door here. Now inside this room you can pick up a few items, including the paint remover, but the main item we're going to need is the bowl of wax fruit. Make sure we go ahead and grab that, leave the room, and open up the steel security door. Now it's a giant security door, yet it's unlocked and you can easily go inside of it. Inside here, bypass these rooms and head up the stairs. We're going to run into the first of the two tentacles in the house. There he is. We're going to go ahead and give him the bowl of wax fruit first. And then you want to go ahead and give him the fruit drink. If you give him these two items in order, he will go ahead and leave you alone. Thank you. And then you can just go ahead and head up the stairs. Now in this hallway, we're going to enter the first door. Inside here is the radio communication, which we'll be using later, as well as a dime on the floor, which you can use for the arcade. However, I will be skipping that part in this run. Now once you get up the ladder, we're going to see that green tentacle again. Go ahead and grab the record, and then grab the key, which is a little bit hard to see on the wall. Now he's very depressed because he can't get his rock band going. Now there's a lot of funny endings as well as some death scenes that can occur by using a music contract along with that green tentacle. However, in this run we're going to go ahead and continue on, go all the way to the end here, and open up this door. Inside here you want to go ahead and use the Hunk-O-Matic, and that will go ahead and power you up so that you're a little bit stronger. We're going to be needing that in order to remove a bush from the front of the house. Once we've now powered up, I'm going to go ahead and stay in this room. However, I'm going to summon Bernard for the first time. Go ahead and start moving him along towards some of the stuff he needs to do in order for us to get our ending. Go along and move him to the front door, and then move him across this hallway. Once he's inside this room, I'm going to go ahead and switch to Razor, who I'm really not going to use much other than for this purpose coming right here. Weird Ed, the son, is waiting for a package to arrive, so we're going to go ahead and mess with him by ringing the doorbell. He'll now think that his package has arrived. Go ahead and move Razor off screen so that she can't be captured by Weird Ed when he comes out to see just exactly who rang the doorbell. However, he's distracted now, and now we're going to be able to go inside of his room to get a special key card. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to Dave, who we had waiting in this room. Exit out. And go right into the door next door, which is Weird Ed's bedroom. Now we're going to go ahead and get his pet hamster. By removing the hamster, we can also grab the card key. Now of course there's some very funny scenes involving the hamster. You can give it back to Ed to become friends with him, or you can go ahead and put it in the microwave, explode it, take the remnants of the hamster and give it back to Weird Ed, in which case he will then kill you, causing one of the deaths of your characters. That has to be one of the most interesting Easter egg / any part of any NES game that ever came out. Now that Weird Ed has seen that his package has not arrived yet, he's a little bit ticked off that someone's messing with him. However, we can now go ahead with Dave and move out of this hallway. Head back through the previous hallways we've already been through, and we're going to get ready now to go back to where that steel door was. Once Weird Ed had checked out to see that no one was there, he went ahead and closed the steel door again. However, we can just easily reopen it. Go inside, and now we're going to go into this right door, which we haven't been yet. Now inside of here, we're going to go ahead and use that record and that cassette tape that we picked up. Put the cassette tape in the cassette recorder, makes sense. Then go ahead and use the record on the record player on the top here. And then we're going to go ahead and record something. However, we're going to get one of our cutscenes first. Now in this cutscene we see Sandy, the girlfriend of Dave, for the first time, as well as we see Dr. Ed. Dr. Ed is now informing Sandy that she will be hooked up to a machine and her brains will be sucked out. Of course, Sandy doesn't want that, so she's going to be